Formula 1 makes an unexpected return to the Mexican Grand Prix after the Canadian Grand Prix was earlier cancelled due to an earthquake. But as we arrived in Mexico, the story still came around what happened a few weeks ago when Sam attended a Mercedes-Benz car show with Tom, Toto and Lewis Hamilton. This really quite angered a lot of the McLaren team members that saw him hanging out with everyone from Mercedes. However, Tom has come ahead with a punchy response back to all of this, defending Sam after he was spotted at the Mercedes car show. Tom said that he was the one that personally invited Sam to attend this Mercedes-Benz car show as he is a good friend of his. Tom said if anyone was angry from this, they need to probably try and find some friends and see what it is all like. It was a really punchy response back, as Tom felt that it's yet again another case of the media just doing what they can to create silly stories in order to try and earn some money. And he said at the end of the day, if you want to become a creditable and reliable source, how about you report on some news that's true, and then maybe people will buy your stories because they know they'll get the right answers from you. Very punchy from Tom, and will that escalate into the Mexican Grand Prix weekend? Well, let's try and find out. Let's see what happened though in practice first of all. Porsche were the team that set the track alight in Friday practice, as they were the fastest team out there, as Reese is looking to try and build himself some more momentum to try and challenge for a late gasp at the World Drivers' Championship. But teams are working really hard to understand what is the best tyre to run around this circuit. We saw all the teams trialing out every single tyre compound on there, with a lot of teams thinking that maybe the soft tyres and the medium tyres could be the best way forwards, whereas other teams believe that that's not the case and it's the mediums and the hards that will need to be used, or even the softs and the hards. Anyway, a lot of the teams are really struggling to find out what is the best usage of tyre compounds around here, so we'll have to try and see that. But the race pace from the top four teams looked extremely close, so we could be in for a very entertaining Grand Prix. Now, there is some rain forecasted for Sunday, and this could hit during the Grand Prix. However, as things stand, it's not expected to hit till well after the Grand Prix. But if the wind direction changes and the speed picks up, it could actually land on the circuit during the middle of the race. So all the teams will be keeping an eye out for that one. But let's get straight to the track then. It's time for the Mexican Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. We are here for the Mexican Grand Prix. So let's get straight into things then and get on with qualifying. If you end up enjoying today's video and you end up enjoying the race itself, drop it a like, subscribe to this channel if you're new around here as well to never miss an upload, whether it is F1, Call of Duty, whatever the hell I decide to post. But as you can see then, going through in towards the middle sector here on our first flying lap, this was a awful banker lap. Probably one of the worst bankers you will ever see in your life. But nonetheless, I was very rusty when I started recording this. And as you can see, it is a rubbish lap and it's going to put us right at the bottom of the field. There you go. But obviously that is just a banker lap and it's allowing us to get an opportunity to have a little bit of a feel of the circuit and see what we've got to play with. So in towards our second flying lap here, we were a second up heading into the middle sector, but in this last sector I just didn't hook it up. I just didn't have any confidence in the car, and that's a little bit worrying. But nonetheless though, the back end continues to slide there, really struggling on exit. Double check the tyre temperatures to make sure that they weren't causing me a problem. They would, it's just my driving was really bad. But as you can see now, going through onto our final flying lap here, we've gone purple in the first sector, purple now in the middle sector. So we're really racking it up now, getting straight down to business here as we now go through into the final sector, clipping the curb a little bit too much through there. Now braking hard into the final corner, nailing it that time round. We are 1.1 seconds up on our previous best lap. So where can we go? It's a front row start. All right, so as you can see, we are here on the grid for the start of the Mexican Grand Prix. It's a one-stop strategy, so we're going to get that out of the way and start this race in fine style. You can see dropping the fuel loads down, and now we can get prepared for the Grand Prix to get going here on this grid. Now we've got the 5 red lights on the front row of the grid. Reese alongside us on pole position. Who's going to get the better of the starts? I'll tell you who it is going to be. It's Reese, because as the lights go out, it's almost like we didn't even move there, because straight away now, Piastri is going to get past us. Hamilton passes us. Carlos Sainz now getting in on the act here. We're getting swarmed here at this starting grid here. Not a good start for us at all now, and we're going to get covered now with more room. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. down the inside for Sam, going into turn 1, now turns 2 and 3 here. Hamilton and Sainz make a little bit of contact there as well in the foreground, right in front of us now. As you can see, Sam dropping back here behind, I think that's Lando Norris, but for Hamilton though, he's trying to battle away with Sainz, and this is the problem, because I need to try and find my way through as there's contact between Hamilton and Sainz. We nearly make contact there with Carlos Sainz, but we're okay. But now all of a sudden we're going to go down the inside here of Lewis Hamilton, our championship rival, and that is a key move for us in this race. Of course, we've got a comfortable-ish points advantage over Lewis Hamilton after his difficult Belgian Grand Prix where we actually won that race, and that's not going to help us by using one of our track limit warnings straight away off the bat here, but never mind, we've only got 2 left and 36 laps to go. That should be fun. Right now, anyway, you can see here though, Reese is pulling away out front, got a big gap now already here as Piastri now struggling a little bit for grip in the opening phases of this Grand Prix. Must have been forced wide a little bit by Reese, allowing him to push away. Never mind, it's not been a case of him being forced wide. He's actually having to come straight into the pits then, so Piastri having some trouble then on the first lap. I didn't quite see what happened, but don't worry, I've got to replay a bit later on. But as you can see now, down the straight here, using up some of the battery, closing up now, getting closer and closer to the back of Carlos Sainz in the Porsche now. Will we send it down the inside? Yes, we will, and that is a lovely move there, nice and clean down the inside of Carlos Sainz. Job done on him, and we're up into second place now, but Reese already pulling away here. And crucially, Lewis Hamilton said, "Thank you very much, Tom, for doing all the work there. I'll just sneak up the inside as well, like you did." But this is what happened at the start then. So as the lights go out here, we just didn't get away at all. A massive amount of wheel spin there, and it was just appalling. For Reese, though, it's the dream scenario. He's away, and he's off out front here. So that's absolutely fine for him now, as they make their way down the straight here, heading in towards the first corner. A Piastri's just a little bit close to the inside here, and it looks like he dove it. There's a lot of cars there that dove at the inside. Fortunately, no damage for the majority of them, apart from Piastri. This is what it looked like on board from Sam here. So as you can see, this is me getting swarmed at the start now. I'm now really desperately trying to cover off Sainz, but that battle is all but over. I've now covered off the inside line here, but Sam is still interested in taking the position here, and he goes steaming down the inside here. He actually does make contact there with the back of Carlos Sainz, but fortunately enough for Sam, that didn't equate to any damage for him. He could carry on and he could continue with his race. Oscar Piastri, though, couldn't continue with his race. Again, bad start from us, and straight away now, he's got a dream scenario here, Piastri. He's got a nice, lovely slipstream from Reese, but he decides not to use it here. He goes the inside line, clearly under pressure from the likes of Hamilton and Sainz in behind, and then he just dives in super late on the brakes there, and goes straight into the back of Reese. You saw the front wing end plate fall off there, and that's exactly why he's in the situation that he's in. Lap 2, or the end of lap 2 of this Grand Prix now, and we're struggling a little bit here. Still trying to get a mojo going in this Grand Prix as Reese continues to set the pace out front. We can't quite match with it, and all of a sudden now, Lewis Hamilton has got way more pace than we do, and he's coming for us now. As we can see here, he's going to just breeze past. Nothing I could do about that. Clean overtake there from Lewis Hamilton. He now goes into second place in this Grand Prix, and I've decided best not to fight this one just yet here, because at the moment, I'm really struggling for pace, and hopefully, with the DRS being enabled very shortly, if I can just about stay with Hamilton, then I can just use the DRS and try and keep up with him for the time being. Lap 4 of the Grand Prix here, and you can see this is Sam now trying to make a move here on Carlos Sainz now for the battle for 4th place here, and he's going to do just that here with the DRS enabled now. He's going to go down the inside here into turn 1, job done, but unfortunately for Sam, he's actually overshot the corner there, and Carlos Sainz says, "Thank you very much, I'll have that place back," but there is a second DRS zone here, and there's only one detection point, so for Sam, he's going to get lucky on this one, because down, or around the outside even, this time though, he does make the corner, and the job is done for him. And the end of lap 4 now to start lap 5, and the plan has worked here. We've kept up with Lewis Hamilton, and we're now in his DRS here, and we're just allowing ourselves, by being in his DRS, to just easily, get a feel for the track and for the conditions and get better at driving this circuit. And all of a sudden now I feel happy to go for a move here down on the inside of Lewis Hamilton, but it's not quite as intense as you might think, because there's Reese up ahead here. But as you can see now, look, I get the DRS for a second bite of the cherry. So on the 2 straights then, I'm now going to be gaining a lot of pace on Reese ahead, and that equated to a fastest lap of the race for myself. But all of a sudden now, I was thinking, well, hang on a minute. I know I'm in a championship battle here with Lewis Hamilton, but why don't we just tow each other along to catch up to Reese? So Hamilton out here makes the move, and he goes down the insides into turn 1. So automatically now, Lewis Hamilton has gained roughly 0.2 of a second, say 2-3 tenths on Reese alone, just by making that overtake. Now he's going to get the DRS here, and we're just going to keep towing each other along. And of course, if I'm too far back, I will not challenge him unless I can make the move stick. This is lap 6 of the Grand Prix now. This is Carlos Sainz here, who's under pressure from Sam, who's going to go to the outside line of turn 1. Breaks late, that Sainz, though, has that one covered off, but Sam is still going to hold himself in there through this complex of 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, for Sam, at least on that occasion, it's going to work quite nicely. With the second DRS zone enabled for him, not a lot really that Sainz can do apart from accept defeat. And that's exactly what he's done. Nothing to be done there for Sainz. Job done for Sam, but that battle is going to rage on for a lot longer. And when I mean a lot longer, well, I do mean it, because here comes Sainz now for a bit of revenge here down the straight now. But this is a lot more simpler than how Sam had to do it just one lap ago. Down the inside here, oh, it's a big lockup though for Carlos Sainz. I was about to say that was easy, but for Sainz, it's not going to be the case here. And that is a poor mistake there, which has allowed Lando Norris straight through. Now Norris is going to go for a run here on Sam down the straight in towards the first corner. And Lando Norris has literally turned everything to the max then to get that one done, but he's got it done. And for Sam, he's unfortunately going to have to accept defeat on that one, but he's got to be careful here because now he's going to have to watch out that Sainz doesn't re-overtake him. Lap 7 of the Grand Prix for us though here, and we're catching back up to Lewis Hamilton, and again, the tactic is still working for us. You can see there, look, closing the DRS early. I'm not going to send it up the inside into turn 1, and as you can see now, making our way through the chicane here, we can now just get onto the power here and start cracking on with our race. DRS once again opened. This time though, I've got a heavy closing speed here. A bit too much for my liking, to the point where I'm going to actually have to do a little bit of an overtake here on Lewis Hamilton. Fortunately, I probably didn't compromise myself too much in all of that, but you can clearly see that Reese in the Porsche is getting a lot closer to ourselves, and he's going to be very worried that there are two Mercedes men that are in a championship battle, more focused on towing each other along to catch him rather than anything else. But at the end of the day, we're here to win. That's the whole point, and we're going to do everything we can as a team to try and win, and then once we're out front in the 1-2, we'll settle our differences together. So here's Lewis Hamilton now, breezing past myself, and straight away you can see now, he is effectively in the DRS range. There we go, you can see it right here. Hamilton now is in DRS range of Reese, but this is now a problem for me in this circumstance, and that's because Hamilton, yes, he's in the DRS range of Reese, but if he gets this move done quickly on Reese and allows himself to pull away, that's going to be problematic for me. So now becomes the phase here where both of us are on all-out attack. This is now where the free-for-all is over, because we need to get on with it in this Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton now goes for it. Round the outside on Reese into turn 1. It doesn't work, but Reese goes in a little bit deep into 1. We clatter the curbs through the exit in the first 2 corners, and now all of a sudden, Hamilton here has got a great run now on Reese. Down the straight, DRS is going to be enabled. That's going to be a chance here for Hamilton to go for it. We're now also trying to go for it here. Maximum speed now. The two Mercedes is a 1-2. We go into the lead though at the Mexican Grand Prix. Reese tries to go down the inside for Hamilton in towards into the chicane. Now into the double hairpin here. Reese desperately trying to avoid losing 2 places in the span of 1 corner. But this is a dream scenario for ourselves because we can pull away. And as we're doing so, they're still going for it into the middle sector. Great fight between Lewis Hamilton and Reese. But Hamilton comes out on top in this scenario. But there's a third DRS zone, remember, that's coming up now. So Reese will use this. Will he go for it on Lewis Hamilton into the final sector? He will. He's going to try it now. Oh, there's contact between Hamilton and Reese. So close now between the pair of them as they battle and duel away. And all of a sudden, the battle for the lead has become the battle to hold on to the podium because the rest of the train is fast approaching here. And we're gone. We've completely blitzed them in this circumstance. We've left Hamilton for dust now in this Grand Prix. Who's got DRS now on this straight? Is it Reese? Is it Hamilton? Lewis Hamilton is the man with the DRS. But here comes Sam now to try and make a move here on Reese because Reese is now a sitting duck. We're already going through turn 1 at this stage now. That is a massive gap that we pulled on our rivals here. But Lewis Hamilton now in second place. Reese is down to down to fourth, should I say. Sam up to third. But Reese now is going to have to suffer with yet another DRS zone coming his way, because here now comes Lando Norris down the inside in towards turn 5 and 6, or whatever turns it is. I don't even remember at this point, as we now make our way around here. Reese now just about is going to hold on to that one, but that was damaging for him. But there you can see is our gap out front. It is absolutely massive, but not for much longer, because the curb has spun us round then in the middle sector. We've lost out here, and the back end struggling to get back on the power here, and all of a sudden that advantage that we just had out front has been completely wiped out. I've been riding that curb the exact same for the entirety of this Grand Prix. For some reason on that occasion, it just completely spun us out, and all of a sudden our 3-4 second lead out front has relegated us all the way down to 7th now in this Grand Prix. So it's another nightmare scenario for the Mercedes driver. But for Hamilton, his nightmare scenario is over. He now leads this Mexican Grand Prix. As for me, oh, he actually doesn't lead the Mexican Grand Prix. I've just seen Sam overtake him. So I take that back. He's not in the lead. Yeah, he's now in front of us. And that's a problem for us. But speaking of being in the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix, he wants to get back into the lead. So how's he going to do that? Well, making an overtake. Quite simple, actually, for Lewis Hamilton. There you go. Job done. Position gained. And Sam will have to say bollocks and try again. But further back, there you can see Reese here trying to make a move here on Lando Norris. Who's got the DRS on the next straight? It's going to be Reese that's got it. So Lando Norris now will be all right for the first stage of this straight, but not for the rest of it. But for us, though, we're going to try and make a move here on Russell. And we're going to go straight around the outside of Russell. Make that the outside of Russell. And also Carlos Sainz there. Lovely double overtake from ourselves there. Really having to get aggressive in this phase of the race now, as we're struggling or trying to fight back here and not make sure that Hamilton and Sam get too far off into the distance. But never mind about what's going on in front of me. Got to worry about what's behind me because the DRS is enabled here. But Sainz now is coming for us here down this straight. Nothing I can do. The Porsche is much quicker in a straight line, as you can clearly see, because I've just been blitzed there in a straight line. But we'll take the outside line, flick that to inside, and then give Sainz a cheeky little switchback, and that caught him off guard, and that's job done for us. And now all of a sudden we can crack on with the DRS here. But all of a sudden, just notice further ahead now, the other Porsche driver has no DRS. So do you know what? I'll send that one down the inside here. I've gone so late though on the brakes. I've managed to keep it on the circuit though, and guess what? The Dive Bomb King's back in action. That's another place for us. Up into 4th now in this Grand Prix. Sam leads the way. Hamilton is 2nd. Maybe not 2nd for much longer, because lap 14 of this Grand Prix, Hamilton is going to try and make that the lead of this race, and he does so. Down the or around the outside of Sam before they get to the corner. Job done for him. DRS will be enabled for him to pull away. But guess what? Sam's back for another bit of action here, because if they make their way down the straight now, Sam will make his way in towards the first corner now, and he will just about potentially stay in the lead. If not, they'll go side by side and have a little bit of a duel. I take it all back. Sam has done that one quite easily. And you can see Lando Norris now very much getting close to them. But these two now having a very nice squabble back and forth with each other here, as Hamilton now is a little bit further back than Sam than he has been in the previous few laps. But that doesn't bother him. Oh, he tried to have a go then into the first corner. But for once, the AIs are actually being a little bit sensible here and holding back, waiting a second, giving themselves an opportunity to go for it in the next DRS zone. And that's what he's going to do here. And as you can see, the DRS has been enabled for him as he goes around the outside now in towards turns 4 and 5. This is going to get very close between these two, and this is going to close us up further back here, because myself and Lando Norris are in pursuit of these two, but I thought they'd battle for a bit longer than that, but they didn't. But there they are up front. We've pretty much now nearly recovered ourselves into a position where we can fight for the lead of this Grand Prix. But the tyres are getting a little bit worn now. It's time to come into the pits and get off them. We've done 17 laps on these tyres and a big old half or full double spin or whatever we just did. So they definitely need a bit of TLC. In other words, get off my car, let's strap a set of hard tyres on and go to the end here. So as we come out of the pits now, it's not going to be a brilliant pit stop, but I'll tell you whose pit stop was worse, Lando Norris's, because Ferrari have once again caused themselves some problems in this race, and all of a sudden now, that position in which Lando Norris had in front of us is no more, because thank you very much to my boys in the pit crew. It wasn't the greatest stop, but tell you what, it was better than Ferrari, and that's worked for us now. And also, we were in the DRS detection zone when we were behind Sainz, so we get the DRS not only through what we've just had then on the end of the pit straight, but we're also going to get it on this straight as well, which is absolutely fantastic. It just allows me to build a buffer to Lando Norris. But I'll tell you what happened during that lap. I didn't build a buffer to Lando Norris. So lap 18, start lap 19. Unfortunately, you may be able to see him right there, and he's got DRS, and he's going to turn everything to the absolute maximum, and I've decided I'm not even going to bother trying to fight that, because that is a joke of a straight line speed advantage that Ferrari possesses, and I'll leave him on his way. Plus, I'm going to try and use Lando Norris as my little bit of a slipstream menace in order to get myself back to Lewis Hamilton and Sam, who are only just up the road, but they are there. But they are setting fastest laps, so we kind of need to get on with it in this Grand Prix. So let's do that then. So here we go then. Opening up the DRS now here on Lando Norris. Norris tries to cover off the inside line, but doesn't really put up a fight, to be honest. So we'll now just comfortably take that and go through into 1, 2 and 3. Hamilton and Sam are doing exactly what I want up front. They are battling, and that's allowing us just to close that gap ever more. But Norris then seems to have dropped off a little bit through 1, 2 and 3. So that's going to give me an opportunity now to try and use my speed that I've got and pull away here in this Grand Prix of Lando Norris and allow this to become a three-way fight. And basically not have to deal with more opponents. That's kind of the aim here. But we'll see how it gets on now. So as you can see here, Lewis Hamilton is once again in DRS range of Sam. They've been battling each other pretty much all race long in this circumstance. And now, as you can see here, there is a lovely bit of slipstreaming and DRS for Lewis Hamilton to get the job done. That is very easy for him. And he's obviously going to have another opportunity later on to attack Sam. Because guess what? Sam's going to attack him. And then he's going to attack that. And everyone's going to attack each other. But crucially now, we've got ourselves into DRS range of all of this. Lando Norris is slipping back a little bit now in this race, and as you can see, that's just giving the three of us an opportunity to go at it together in this Grand Prix. So as you can see now, we are right behind Lewis Hamilton now, so we're back into the play in this Grand Prix. Hello everybody, we've been being patient in this Grand Prix, but now we can really get on with it in this Grand Prix. So let's go with ourselves right behind Lewis Hamilton in the middle sector now, going through the lefts and rights here, making sure that we keep everything intact. We're not going to keep it intact though, because all of a sudden the curb that spun us out earlier in the Grand Prix spins us out for a second time, but not to the point where we spin and keep our car intact, to the point where it's in the wall and we are out of the Mexican Grand Prix. The World Championship race has been blown wide open with that one. Once again, the curb just spins us around and it's taken us into the wall this time. Nothing we could do, and all of a sudden, what was looking like a good recovery drive has turned into a disaster with the same curb biting us for a second time. And as we just said on that occasion, there was absolutely nothing that we could do about that. But for Lando Norris, what he could do is win the Mexican Grand Prix. He managed to beat both Sam and Lewis Hamilton to the checkered flag to win it for Ferrari. A big result for them. They really needed some form of motivation after bringing those upgrades last time around and failing to really capitalize with them. This time around, they've done just that. Lando Norris is your race winner, 0.3 of a second, the gap between himself and Lewis Hamilton as they cross the start-finish line. Sam crosses the line to finish in P3 for McLaren, 3 seconds off the pace in the end, so he ended up slipping back a little bit. Reese finishes in P4 ahead of his teammate Sainz in P5. Van Dorn with an impressive result for Red Bull, finishing in 6th, with Charles Leclerc 7th for Audi. George Russell finishes the race in 8th for Jaguar, picking up some more important points for the team, with Oscar Piastri recovering quite nicely to finish in P9 at the end, with Daniel Ricciardo claiming the final points-paying position. The fastest lap went to Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, but as you can see, he is not in the top 10, meaning that fastest lap point does not get awarded out. So unfortunately for him, he is not going to get it. So looking at the second half of the table anyway, Nick De Vries finishes in 11th place, with Valtteri Bottas finishing in 12th for Audi. Both of them 26 seconds off the lead. Pato O'Ward, a lonely 13th for McLaren, still really struggling with that car. Sergio Perez 14th for Red Bull, so that's where he finished, and of course that doesn't equate to any points. Colton Herta is 15th for Aston Martin, with Pierre Gasly sitting in 16th place. Callum Ilott finishes in 17th for the second Jaguar driver. And then 3 DNFs from this race. Theo Pourchaire, the latest of the DNFers. Then it is myself, unfortunately, retiring from this Grand Prix. And then Mason Wood also retired from the race. Now, having a look at what that has done to the Drivers' Championship, well, I said it blown it wide open. It's flipped it completely on its head. Lewis Hamilton regains the lead of the Drivers' Championship after the Mexican Grand Prix. He is on 207 points and now has a 2-point gap over myself with just 2 races to go. Reese is 3rd in the championship on 30 points. He is still mathematically in this championship fight. So too is Sam in 4th. But it's becoming a lot harder for those two to really delve into the championship. Reese needs to outscore Hamilton by 5 points or more in order to take the fight to the final round in Brazil. As for Sam, well, he's 42 points off, so he really needs a strong showing. He needs pretty much a disaster from both us two Mercedes drivers in the final 2 races to really have a chance. Carlos Sainz is 5th in the championship with 125 points to his name. He's 82 points back off of Hamilton. Lando Norris, with that race win though, has actually really closed the gap between himself and Sainz. That gap between the two of them is just 5 points now. So could we see Lando Norris potentially stealing 5th in the championship? It's certainly not out of the question. Oscar Piastri is 7th in the championship with 94 points. Of course, him and Lando Norris have been having a great battle throughout the course of the season to try and see who's going to be the best of the Ferraris. But it looks like that race win and the P9 for Oscar has allowed Lando that advantage. Stoffel Vandoorne finishes is in 8th in the championship. It's not finished just yet. He's on 65 points, with Daniel Ricciardo on 57 points, with Charles Leclerc just a point back now on 56 points, and those 3 positions are separated by just 9 points. So there's definitely at least 8th in the table up for grabs between Vandoorne, Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc. The next race is the F1 Journey United States Grand Prix, not at the Circuit of the Americas, but at the new Miami circuit. So let's go look at the Constructors' Championship now. And one change in the Constructors, you can see, which is that Ferrari have jumped in front of McLaren now. Thanks to Lando Norris' race win and Sam finishing in P3, and with Oscar Piastri picking up 2 points as well, it has meant that Ferrari go in front of McLaren by 5 points, or 6.5 points, wherever my maths is correct. However, at the top of the championship, Mercedes, we have won the Constructors' Championship with just 2 races to go and a maximum of 88 points up for grabs. The gap of 113 points at the top of the championship is enough to crown Mercedes Constructors' Champions. Porsche are 2nd in the championship with 300 points. And like I said a second ago, Ferrari jumped in front of McLaren. Red Bull sit pretty in 5th and are pretty much going to solidify themselves as 5th in the championship with 108 points. Audi are on 69 points, 10 points clear now of Renault, who are on 59 points. Jaguar get a couple more points on the board, they're up to 36 points, and BMW remain those 5 crucial points clear of Aston Martin. So let's go have a look at the post-race notebook now, see what the teams and drivers had to say after the Mexican Grand Prix. Taking a look at the post-race notebook, Lando Norris held on to win the Mexican Grand Prix, and finally Ferrari are back on top of the podium after such a long time without a win. Earlier on in the season is when they last picked up their race victory. Lewis Hamilton finished just behind in 2nd place, and Sam ended up taking P3. Lando Norris was extremely happy to win once again in Formula 1. He said it's been a long time coming and it's been a difficult season for Ferrari, but he is definitely proud of the team's efforts and is happy to once again win in Formula 1. And it was celebration mixed with frustration over at Mercedes-Benz as the team itself clinched the Constructors' Championship, in which Mercedes celebrated that achievement. It's been a while since Mercedes-Benz have been a front-running team and have suffered multiple years of really struggling to understand their cars and have just pretty much been underperforming. But Toto Wolff's masterstroke in rehiring Lewis Hamilton and bringing Tom to the team, bringing in 2 Alphas who have been definitely working well as a team, have been able to go ahead and win the Constructors' Championship for them. And Toto Wolff's message is very, very clear. With the Constructors' Championship fully wrapped up and with 2 races to go and just 2 points separating Hamilton and Tom, Toto Wolff has said he doesn't care anymore. Let the gloves come off, Hamilton and Tom will scrap till the end. As for the celebration side of things, there was the frustration, and of course Tom DNF'd from this Mexican Grand Prix after losing the car on the curb in the middle sector twice during the Grand Prix. The first time Tom lost it was actually okay, as he was able to recover and actually managed to get back up to P3, but the second time caused him to DNF, and Tom is extremely unsure as to how that curb managed to spin his car out twice, yet every single other driver was absolutely okay over the curbs and suffered no issues whatsoever. And it's something that he's going to analyse in the data throughout the course of the break between this race and the US Grand Prix. But the championship has been blown wide open now. 2 points separate our top 2 drivers, and there's just 2 races to go. So, thank you very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well. I'll catch you guys next time for the US Grand Prix in Miami. Take care all. Peace.